there was a story that I posted on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, a couple of days ago. And it got over 2,000 likes. Is a story dealing with an interview that Snoop Dogg, legendary hip hop artist Snoop Dogg, did with GQ. It's a interview in the December issue of GQ magazine, December 2021 issue of GQ magazine. But he talks about the importance of his wife, Shantae Brodus, and he talks about how he explains why his wife is the perfect steward of his career and legacy. Why his wife is the perfect steward of his career and legacy. I've put her through so much. It's a really, really good piece from AtlantaBlackStar.com. We're going to talk some about that on today's show. It deals with, this ties into having a mate that is really on your side, having a wife, a husband that's really on your side. In this case, it's a wife, and it happens to be an African-American woman, having someone like that on your side. Okay, so we'll talk about that story dealing with Snoop. And then we see that the Senate has voted to increase the debt limit. Okay, so there's a lot of news coverage on this today. And New York Times, there's an article, Senate passes $2.5 trillion debt limit increase, and is now going to the House of Representatives. But to increase the debt limit, they had to break the filibuster. Okay, and 14 Republicans voted to break the filibuster to allow Democrats to vote to increase the debt limit. All right. So a lot of people are asking the question, well, if you could alter the filibuster to increase the debt limit to save the economy, why can't you alter the filibuster to save the democracy? Okay. And one of those people asking that question is Georgia U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock. All right. And Raphael Warnock was on the Senate floor today, eviscerating the Senate, especially Republicans in the Senate, but also Democrats as well. We're gonna talk about this story and share an excerpt of what happened today. It was brilliant. All right. Rachel Maddow on the Rachel Maddow show had a excerpt of it as well. I watched some of what happened in the Senate today. I watched some of it live. NBC News also has this piece here. We're going to bring this up. Senate sees debt limit increase as model to pass. Senator sees debt limit increase as model to pass voting legislation. Senator sees debt limit increase as model to pass voting legislation. Discontent is simmering among some Democrats that voting legislation has stalled because of Republican opposition. So we'll discuss this. Now, this ties into our story, one of our stories from Monday's show, and this piece here from Axios.com, an interview that just took place with Representative James Clyburn of South Carolina, who's the House Majority Whip. Clyburn predicts Dems will get around filibuster on voting rights. Clyburn predicts Dems will get around filibuster on voting rights. And at the end of yesterday's show, we talked about the meeting that's taking place, the meetings that have been taking place with Senator Tim Kaine, Democrat from Virginia, but also Senator Joe Manchin has been meeting with Republicans to make changes to the filibuster. A small group of Senate Democrats, including Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, have been huddling to discuss rule changes that could help pass voting rights without Republican support, but not end the filibuster. Okay, so we have all this taking place at the same time. And then also you have this other piece. There was an article from thehill.com from December 8th And this deals with Senator Joe Manchin meeting with Republicans. Manchin discusses Senate rule changes with Republicans. Now, this has not gotten a lot of media coverage. They talked about, I heard them talk a little bit about this today on MSNBC, but this is an article I read back on December 8th. This is from thehill.com, which is a political news site. Manchin quietly discusses Senate rule changes with Republicans. This is from December 8th, 2021. Okay, so we'll discuss some of this on today's show. Now, this together, all this is connected. We know Reverend William Barber led a protest outside the White House on Monday, but also they were back today as well. The Poor People's Campaign protests. They're protesting to get Biden's economic plan passed, his Build Back Better plan, but also to get the voting rights bill passed. I'll share an excerpt of what happened at the rally. But then also something else took place today, and it's gotten very, very little media attention. Okay. Vice President Kamala Harris and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen held a forum today, the Freedman's Bank Forum. And at this forum, the U.S. Treasury, they announced $8.7 billion in COVID aid that's going to community and minority lenders. And part of what was discussed today was economic empowerment for African Americans, for African American banks, things of this nature. Okay, so we're going to talk about that as well. I'm going to let you hear an excerpt of what took place today. This has gotten very little media coverage. Hopefully it gets coverage tomorrow. Okay, but there's a piece from Reuters.com and Yahoo.com picked this piece up as well. We're going to pull this up here. U.S. Treasury. Let's see. U.S. Treasury funnels $8.7 billion in COVID aid to community minority lenders. This took place today. I watched some of it live on YouTube. It was the Freedman's Bank that met, and Vice President Kamala Harris spoke there as well. We'll talk about this on the other side of the break. You listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. Stand by. How's everybody doing? Share this broadcasting on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in also. This type of information you're not going to hear a whole lot of other places. Back from break in 3 minutes.
Mental health and well-being have long been a taboo subject in the so-called African American community. So I enlisted the help of mental health experts, thought leaders, and activists to help kill the ghost of Willie Lynch and heal from post-traumatic slave syndrome.
We experience trauma a lot of times on a subconscious level. So sometimes something happens to us and we know that it's traumatizing, but we don't really recognize the extent of the trauma.
African Spirit Cards specialize in the design and printing of high-quality African-centered note cards and stationery. African Spirit Cards breeds and rejoices in the African and African American experiences. They honor our African heritage in all that they do for you by proudly displaying the great motifs and ornamentations of the African world diaspora. They use African images, African proverbs, and many African languages to fully immerse their clients in the wisdom and history of and the connection to Africa. They understand the importance of having images around us that reflect who we are. These images also illustrate where we came from and what we desire to be. They are here to serve you. Follow them on Instagram at African Spirit Cards, that's African with a K. They have a wide selection. Check out their holiday selection at etsy.com/shop/African Spirit Cards. That's Etsy, ETSY. You can give them a call at 313-995-3579, 313-995-3579. You can email them at janeldesigns@africanspiritcards.com. That's JANAL designs@africanspiritcards.com, and place your order today. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Tuesday, December 14th, 2021, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. 313-778-7600. Okay. On the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you control the compass of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. All right. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events and history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter, text the word Kemet, Kemet, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter, or visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All right. I want to get to our first story here. So I saw this from AtlantaBlackStar.com, and this deals with legendary hip hop artist Snoop Dogg. And it's an interview that he did with GQ magazine. Okay, interview he did with GQ magazine, the December issue of GQ is the cover story. And one of the things he talks about a new position with Def Jam Records. Okay, and he also talks about a executive creative consultant. He just got a new position with Def Jam Records, but he talks about his relationship with his wife and his wife managing his career. And he said, "I've put her through so much." Snoop Dogg explains why his wife is the perfect steward of his career and legacy. So if we look at this quickly here, and I want to pull up the article from AtlantaBlackStar.com as well. I want to pull up this piece here. Let's see here from AtlantaBlackStar.com. So the former Death Row Records rapper says, when it comes to entrusting someone with his legacy, no one is better equipped than his wife of more than 2 decades, Shantae Brodus. He said, "That's my backbone. That's my heart and my soul. That's the one that I love the most, that I trust the most." And let me see. I'm going to pull this one up here. Okay, so now he said this in the December issue of GQ magazine. And it's a big interview. I read some of it online, but I read this article here from AtlantaBlackStar.com. Now they share 3 children, their sons Cordy and Cordell. and daughter Corey Brodus, as well as 3 grandchildren. Now, together, they have weathered the storms, and some people know from the outside different things that they've been through from reading about it and news stories, etc. I want to flip over to this piece here from AtlantaBlackStar.com. I've put her through so much. Snoop Dogg explains why his wife is the perfect steward of his career and legacy. Now, and here's a picture of them when they were really young, when they first got married. And then here's a picture of them more recently. Now, Snoop's early years, we had East Coast, West Coast beefs. We had they weathered the countless storms from label shakeups, West and East Coast rapper beefs, Snoop Dogg's murder case in the 1990s as well. And also the birth of Snoop's 4th child from a relationship outside of their marriage and a public separation that came after more than 15 years together. Now, the fact that Shantae Brodus remains by Snoop's side today is not lost on him. He said, let me scroll down here. Now, his decision was twofold. For starters, he said he was able to trust Shantae's guidance. And secondly, he wanted to ensure his business deals and legacy would exist well after he himself is long gone. Okay. He wanted to make sure that his business deals and his legacy would exist well after he is long gone. So he's focused on longevity, and he's focused on the next generation and who is going to be able to take this over, who's going to be able to control this. So this is like estate planning, so to speak. Now, he said she remained rock solid. She remained rock solid the whole way through. So that's how you repay people for being solid and being loyal. You cut them into it, and now it's theirs. End quote. Now, Shantae Brodus is also the founder of Boss Lady Entertainment. She shared that her priority is to strengthen, quote, strengthen Snoop's legacy with the loyalty and trust of our guidance that has made Snoop who he is today. Now, as part of her duty, she will oversee West Coast rap, oversee Snoop's future business partnerships and help manage his youth football league also. Now, for Snoop, merging the two worlds of personal and professional makes sense. He said, that's our problem as Black men sometimes. Okay, now pay attention to this. That's our problem as Black men sometimes. Let me like really blow this up. That's our problem as Black men sometimes. We get so caught up in our business that we forget to let our spouse in the business. We get so caught up in our business that we forget to let our spouse in on the business. All right, now let me go back to this here. Okay. I gotta close out some of these tabs. All right. So he said, that's our problem as Black men. Sometimes we get so caught up in our business that we forget to let our spouse in the business. Then when something happens to us, in comes some man or some company taking it from this lady who has no understanding of business and how to hold on. So he's talking about a succession plan. Okay. He's talking about a succession plan. All right. Now, he said, quote, but in the other world, he's talking about white people. In the other world, they teach their whole family this stuff, this sugar honey iced tea. It could be other ethnic, it could be Asians, things like this, but they teach their whole family the business. Everybody knows the business. In case something happens to one member of the family, I'm teaching my sons, my daughter, and my wife the business. I'm teaching my sons, my daughter, and my wife the business. Okay, so that's a great, I think that's a really good story. Two important things here, maybe three or four, to tell you the truth. This article is from December 11th, 2021 from AtlantaBlackStar.com. So this is a testament of Black love, of a rock solid marriage. But this is also about succession plan, teaching the family the business. Okay, teaching the family the business, bringing them into the business, creating generational wealth. All right. And you know, this is, I think this is something that's really, I think this is a really, really good story. If hopefully we hear more about this story, hopefully this is a story that goes viral. If he did something crazy, that would go viral. If he said something crazy, that will go viral. Hopefully this story will as well. So you deal with economic empowerment for African Americans, but there's also another thing that this does is this creates employment opportunities for his family members, for his children, for his family members, etc. Because this is what other ethnic groups do. Okay, this is what other ethnic groups do. So this is something that I think a lot of us can learn from as well. All right, we're coming up on a break. You listen to the African History Network show. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number. If you have a question or comment, 313-778-7600 is the call-in number. If you have a question or comment, when we come back, I want to go to this other story here dealing with this deals with the debts. This deals with the debt ceiling, but Reverend Raphael Warnock was on fire today on the Senate floor, calling out Democrats and Republicans for not changing the filibuster to save democracy, but changing the filibuster to save the economy and raise the debt limit. Okay, we're going to talk about this on the other side of the break. You listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. African Spirit Cards specialize in the design and printing of high-quality African-centered note cards and stationery. African Spirit Cards breeds and rejoices in the African and African-American experiences. They honor our African heritage in all that they do for you by proudly displaying the great motifs and ornamentations of the African world diaspora. They use African images, African proverbs, and many African languages to fully immerse their clients in the wisdom and history of and the connection to Africa. They understand the importance of having images around us that reflect who we are. These images also illustrate where we came from and what we desire to be. They are here to serve you. Follow them on Instagram at African Spirit Cards, that's African with a K. They have a wide selection. Check out their holiday selection at Etsy.com/shop/African Spirit Cards. That's Etsy, ETSY. You can give them a call at 313-995-3579, 313-995-3579. You can email them at janeldesigns@AfricanSpiritCards.com. That's JANAL designs@AfricanSpiritCards.com and place your order today.
In the African History Network show, we deal with current events in history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much more. Unfortunately, many people confuse what racism is. Racism is a power structure. It was laws and policies that put us in this predicament. It's going to be laws and policies that take us out. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you control the compass of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know.
We have it all on 910 AM Superstation. 910 The Superstation, Detroit's only African-American talk radio.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Tuesday, December 14th, 2021, and we are live. Okay, so you can still register for the online courses I teach on Saturdays and Sundays, from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. And then also Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, where they didn't teach you in school. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have the information there. We do the classes Saturdays and Sundays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch them anytime. Right now, we have a special bundle pack where you can register for both classes for only $70. They're regularly $130 each. Even after the 10-week online courses are over with, you can still go back and watch the entire course. You'll still have full access to it. All right. So visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and I just posted a link here on the thread of the broadcast. Okay, I want to go to the second story here. We're going to clip one, Shakita, in just a second. So many of you may have heard that the Senate raised the Senate passed the bill to raise the debt limit today, and after a filibuster deal. Okay. TheHill.com has an article on this. Senate Democrats raised debt ceiling after filibuster deal. And you have 14 Republicans last week that voted to break the filibuster, okay, to allow Democrats to vote to raise the debt limit. Senate Democrats on Tuesday voted to raise the debt limit, bypassing a GOP filibuster as part of a deal struck by congressional leaders. Senators voted 50-49 along party lines to raise the debt limit by $2.5 trillion, though GOP senators supported legislation last week, setting up the simple majority vote. None voted for the bill to increase the debt limit. No Republicans voted today to increase the debt limit, because what they want to do in the midterm elections is blame raising the debt limit on Democrats. So 14 Republicans last week voted to break the filibuster to then allow the vote to take place today. All right. But you have many people saying, well, if you can break the filibuster to raise the debt limit and save the economy, why can't you do it to pass voting rights and save the democracy? Now, Senator Chuck Schumer, Senate Majority Leader, Democrat from New York, said, as I have repeatedly said, this is about paying debt accumulated by both parties, So I'm pleased we came together to facilitate a process that has made addressing the debt ceiling possible. Now, also, if we look at the piece here, so this is from TheHill.com. Senate Democrats raised debt ceiling after a filibuster deal. Okay, now, if we look at the there's a piece from the New York Times from today. Let's see here. There's one from the New York Times. Let me pull that back up. Senate passes $2.5 trillion debt limit increase, sending it to the House. So the House of Representatives now has to vote on this. Now, there's an extensive article from the New York Times, and one of the things they mention in here is the filibuster and how many people are saying, okay, well, now you should be able to change the filibuster to get voting rights passed. All right. The measure would allow the government to continue borrowing to finance its obligations without further action by Congress until after the 2022 midterm elections. Okay, so I want to look at a couple key parts here. Then we're going to go to this clip from Reverend Raphael Warnock. Now, in the article, it says, other Democrats suggested that the convoluted workaround was further evidence that the filibuster could be scrapped, or that similar exceptions should be made for other Democratic priorities. And let's look at this here. Let's back up for a second here. Okay, so they talk about the filibuster here some. Now, Senator Raphael Warnock said, "We have decided that we must do it for the economy, but not for the democracy." And for those that don't know, Senator Raphael Warnock is African American, senator from Georgia. He said this in a speech on the Senate floor today. He argued that a similar process should be created for passing voting rights legislation that has been filibustered by Republicans. By creating such a process would take the support of at least 10 Republicans, and only one has been willing to join Democrats in support of taking up a voting rights measure. By contrast, 14 Republicans joined Democrats last week in voting to allow the U.S. Senate to take up a bill permitting the debt limit to be raised with a simple majority vote. That means 50 plus 1. Okay. On Tuesday, Republicans were eager to have Democrats go on record in support of the debt limit increase. Republicans could cite those votes in the future as they seek to criticize Democrats for excessive spending and adding to the national debt. Well, they did this to save the economy, and they did this to pay for what already has been ran up on the credit card. Okay. And we just came off of 4 years of Republicans in control of the White House and the Senate. All right, now, let me see here. There's another. Okay, so I want to go to this clip here from NBC News. Okay, this is Reverend Raphael Warnock on the Senate floor today. Let's go to this clip, Shakita.
You are looking live right now at the Senate floor, and that, of course, is Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock. We're going to explain what he is doing, what he is saying up there with some of our exclusive reporting in a second, but you need to know the backstory first, right? Because right now, there's this final step the Senate is taking before a vote to raise the debt ceiling. We expect that vote to start like 40 minutes from now, maybe, top of the next hour. That's been the timing guidance. It's one of just a bunch of developments that we're keeping an eye on today, along with action on the Build Back Better Act, that key part of President Biden's agenda. And by the way, it's not all about talks involving Senator Joe Manchin. Plenty of it is, but there's also another senator saying still more than 20 issues need to be worked out involving the budget process that Dems are using to try to sidestep a rules change. You also have a small group of senators meeting on possible next steps on voting rights. Senator Manchin is part of those talks, too, making it clear that he and the other participants are looking at options for changing the Senate rules on that front. I want to bring in NBC's Leanne Caldwell on Capitol Hill. And Leanne, let me start with that debt limit action unfolding, in just about 40 minutes, with some voting rights action also happening from Senator Warnock on the Senate floor. He's linking both of these together in a really interesting way. And I know that you spoke with him just within the last couple hours exclusively for NBC. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Holly, he is linking these, and let me explain. So last week, the Senate had to vote to change the Senate rules in order for the Senate today to lift the debt limit with just a simple majority of votes. That means just Democrats would do it. So Senator Warnock, he's on the Senate floor, and he previewed what he's going to say to me earlier today, saying that the Senate is hypocritical. They have been trying to pass, Democrats anyway, changes to voting rights all year, and they haven't been able to do it because they only have 50 votes, and they need the support of 60 because of Senate rules. That means they would need 10 Republicans. And so he said that he struggled all weekend, and he actually considered sinking the debt limit because of this hypocrisy. Listen to how he explained it to me earlier today.
We think it's so important that we change the rule in order to get there. In order to save the economy. Well, the warning lights on our democracy are blinking right now. And we seem unwilling to respond with the same urgency to protect the democracy that we have to protect the economy.
So he told me that he relayed that message to his members in a closed-door lunch just moments ago. He also spoke with Senator Schumer and Senator Manchin over the weekend and expressed his concerns. And we know that the Senate's not changing rules on voting rights because Senator Manchin so far is opposed, although Senator Manchin told us yesterday and today that he's continuing to have meetings with his colleagues, Senator Warnock, some of his moderate members either, to try to figure out a path forward. And one quick thing, Hallie, is that I asked a Republican aide about this comparison, about Warnock wanting to change the rules. This person said it's not the same. It's comparing apples to spaceships because it took 60 votes. It was a bipartisan agreement last week to change the rules, and the Democrats are considering changing the rules alone for voting rights. Hallie.
Okay, so that is from MSNBC today. And that was who was that? Hallie Jackson show, MSNBC. But also on Deadline White House, they talked about it. But on the Rachel Maddow show, they dealt with Senator Raphael Warnock's comments today on the Senate floor. Okay, so if I can't pull that up tonight, we'll play that on tomorrow's show as well from the Rachel Maddow show. Now, we're coming up on a break. We're going to deal with this on the other side of the break. Read this piece here from NBC News. Senator sees debt limit increase as model to pass voting legislation. And as I said, the Hill.com reported back on December 8th that Senator Joe Manchin has been in talks with key Republicans about altering the filibuster rules to allow some bills to get passed as well. We'll deal with this on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Soul in Motion, celebrating 38 years in the arts. This energetic ensemble of dancers and drummers was started by percussionist Michael Friend and is led by choreographer Associate Director Pam Lassiter. Based in the Washington, D.C. area, Soul in Motion is now accepting bookings for Black History Month, Juneteenth, and summer festivals in 2022. Soul in Motion is also available for more intimate events like naming ceremonies and weddings. To find out more or to book your date, call 240-452-1349 or send an email to info@soulinmotion.org. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Soul in Motion, celebrating our history, our culture, our future. Soul in Motion. Theater, African dance, and drumming since 1984.
African Spirit Cards specialize in the design and printing of high-quality African-centered note cards and stationery. African Spirit Cards breeds and rejoices in the African and African American experiences. They honor our African heritage in all that they do for you by proudly displaying the great motifs and ornamentations of the African world diaspora. They use African images, African proverbs, and many African languages to fully immerse their clients in the wisdom and history of and the connection to Africa. They understand the importance of having images around us that reflect who we are. These images also illustrate where we came from and what we desire to be. They are here to serve you. Follow them on Instagram at African Spirit Cards, that's African with a K. They have a wide selection. Check out their holiday selection at Etsy.com/shop/African Spirit Cards. That's Etsy, ETSY. You can give them a call at 313-995-3579, 313-995-3579. You can email them at janeldesigns@africanspiritcards.com. That's JANAL designs@africanspiritcards.com and place your order today. All right, welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio. Be sure to visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register for the online courses I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. Sundays, it's from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. That's on Saturdays. And Sundays is Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. So we do the sessions live. They're all archived, and you can go back and watch them anytime. Okay, we're going to go to the Kamala Harris clip, Shakita. I think that's clip number 3. So I saw this story here today as well. Has not gotten a lot of media coverage. Hopefully, it'll get a ton of media coverage tomorrow. So the Freedman's Bank, which was created in 1865 as an act of Congress, this is it leads into Reconstruction. The Freedman's Bank existed from 1865 to 1874. We've talked about it here on the show before. So there was a meeting today, and U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, as well as Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, spoke today at the Freedman's Bank Forum. It's an annual forum. Reuters has this article picked up by Yahoo News. I saw a couple of outlets pick up this article. U.S. Treasury funnels $8.7 billion in COVID aid to community and minority lenders. U.S. Treasury funnels $8.7 billion in COVID aid to community and minority lenders. So Vice President Kamala Harris and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen announced more than $8.7 billion in capital investments in community development, financial institutions, and minority-owned banking firms to boost lending in disadvantaged areas, the Treasury Department said. Now, the capital allocation for 186 institutions of $12 billion in funding provided by CDFIs and minority banks was included in coronavirus relief legislation passed at the end of 2020. Then Senator Kamala Harris had helped author the lending provision as a senator, and it was signed into law by former President Donald Trump. It passed the House and the Senate. Democrats controlled the House at that time. Republicans controlled the Senate. We know Democrats took back control of the Senate after Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff won in early January in Georgia. Quote, we know the communities hurt most by COVID-19 have often been communities of color, and Treasury has implemented relief legislation with equity in mind, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said. I want to go to this clip here. Let's go to clip 3, Shakita. This is Vice President Kamala Harris today at the Freedman's Bank Forum that you probably won't see a lot about on mainstream media. Okay, it's the clip from YouTube. Is that I think that's clip 3. Clip 3, Freedman's Bank
Morning,
Forum.
good morning. It is my
Let's go.
great pleasure to be here, Secretary Yellen, and with all of you. We're looking forward to a robust and in-depth conversation. And Secretary Yellen, I want to thank you for inviting me to share this morning with you to have this very important discussion. And to everyone, there are many leaders in this room. It's a room full of leaders. I want to thank you for being here today and for joining us. Earlier this year, I welcomed Mother Viola Fletcher and her younger brother, Mr. Hughes Van Ellis, to my ceremonial office at the Executive Office Building. Mother Fletcher, as many of you know, is 107 years old, and her younger brother, Mr. Van Ellis, is 100 years old. And they both survived the Tulsa race massacre. Mother Fletcher and Mr. Van Ellis were just children when a white supremacist mob burned down Black-owned homes and businesses and decimated the Greenwood district. But 100 years later, The memory of that tragedy, the smoke in the streets, the piles of bodies, was fresh in their minds, as was the memory of the thriving community that they lost. By their account, by every account, the Greenwood District was a very special place, and I think we all know was a very intentional place. It was not the product of whim or fancy or circumstance. It was a design and intentional in that way. And it was designed and intended to be a community, a thriving community within a community. An economy in which Black people supported one another, lifted one another up, and modeled excellence, in which Black people could determine their own future. Some of us refer to that as self-determination. To put equity firmly at the center of our economic policy. So I talk about that today because I believe we must draw from the lessons of Greenwood and Freedman, a Sweet Auburn, and Blaylock Dam. We must be intentional. Here's what I know to be true. America is a nation that is driven by the ambition and the aspirations of her people. But I also know that in America today, deep racial disparities continue to hold people back from achieving all they can.
All right, those watching on Facebook and YouTube, we're going to keep broadcasting. We're going to play the rest of this clip here. We're out of time here on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. On tomorrow's show, we'll play some more of that clip. That happened today. Hopefully this gets coverage in mainstream white media. Hopefully it gets coverage because she had a white woman there with her, Secretary of the Treasury Janet Yellen, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. This was at the Freedman's Bank Forum, December 14th, 2021, Vice President Kamala Harris. Read this piece here once again from Reuters, picked up by Yahoo News. U.S. Treasury funnels $8.7 billion in COVID aid to community minority lenders. You listen to the, thanks for listening to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. Right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. Stand by. Stand by. All right. Let me cue this up. We're going to finish the rest of this clip. Then I have to get out of here. So I haven't seen this at all in mainstream media at all. When watching MSNBC all day, the only article I saw on this, I had to go research it. I had to go Google it. This is actually the meeting took place today. I actually heard about this meeting on Reverend Al Sharpton's show today, Politics Nation. So then I started doing some research on it. I found the video broadcasting live on YouTube. So I watched some of the video. So that clip is from the video on YouTube from the Freedman's Bank page on YouTube. Okay, that's how I found out about it. I ain't see this on MSNBC. So let me cue this up. And then I in researching this, I read a few articles on it. I saw this one here from Yahoo News, picked up from Reuters, picked up by Yahoo News. And there was one or two other outlets I saw had information on about this.
Lockdown. We must be intentional. Here's what I know to be true. America is a nation that is driven by the ambition and the aspirations of her people. But I also know that in America today, deep racial disparities continue to hold people back from achieving all they can. Today, the wealth gap persists. Today, the homeownership gap persists. Today, access to capital is unequal. As one example, Black entrepreneurs are 3 times more likely to report that a lack of access to capital negatively affects their profit margins. I believe that the actions we are taking and must take to address these disparities will define our nation's strength and economic strength in the 21st century. Our economy is growing faster than it has in decades. Unemployment is down to 4.2%, and nearly 6 million jobs have been added since January. As a nation, we cannot take this growth for granted, and we must make sure that everyone shares in this growth in order to sustain it. In a moment, the Secretary and I are going to sit down here and we're going to discuss some of the intentional actions that our administration is taking to lower costs for families and to remove barriers to success within all communities. As but one example, we are increasing access to capital by supporting community lenders, also known as CDFIs and MDIs. One of the last actions, in fact, that I took as a United States Senator was to team up with Senator Mark Warner, Leader Chuck Schumer, Senator Cory Booker, Senator Mike Crapo, Chairman Sherrod Brown, and Chairwoman Maxine Waters, who is here today. Together, we secured $12 billion for community lenders as part of the COVID-19 relief bill. And this summer, we released $1.25 billion of those dollars through our rapid response program. And we were very excited about that. The Secretary and I did that together with so many of the leaders who are here. And following up on that, today, I'm very proud to announce that almost $9 billion is now available to increase lending to small businesses in underserved communities. And I'll say, yes, that's a lot of money. I'm going to go off script for a minute. Yes, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of dough. But what we also intend to do is to look to you, the leaders in the private sector, to talk about how we can maximize the capacity of that infusion in a way that everyone is participating in the potential to exponentially grow that investment in our communities. But needless to say, these $9 billion will dramatically increase the work of more than 175 community lenders across our nation. This effort is close to my heart, and I know it's close to many of us. And it is certainly critical to our communities in every way, in terms of their potential, their capacity, and meeting their dreams with support and encouragement. Throughout the year, I have consulted with the most active community lenders in our nation, those who serve rural communities in Oregon and urban communities in California, including my hometown of Oakland, California. Those who serve low-income communities in the Mississippi Delta. Bill, I think you are here somewhere. Pouring capital into communities that are starved of it, providing financial services to communities that lack those services entirely. Communities like Itabena, a town of 1,800 with a median income of $17,000. Communities filled with people with ambition, with aspirations, with dreams for themselves and their children and their community. I have consulted with many community lenders who serve tribal communities in the plains of South Dakota, where Native women are making quilts that are important to their community, knowing there is a market for it based on the culture and traditions of those communities, and who needed a community lender. They needed a lender, But it just so happens that the community lenders understand best the needs of these communities and see the potential then for growth. Community lenders understand the value in providing access to capital directly to these communities. They sit down with the folks in these communities. They listen to the folks in these communities. They identify with and understand these communities, and that's what makes them so successful. And because they do, they add significant value to these communities and our entire country. So here's the bottom line. I believe that when we unlock the economic power of every community in America, there is nothing we cannot achieve in America. When we unlock that power, our families will be more secure, our businesses will be more successful, and our nation will be more competitive. When every community reaches its full potential, so too does America. And so ultimately, this is about the nation we are and the nation we want to be. So in closing, when I spoke with Mother Fletcher and Mr. Van Ellis in June, it was clear how far we have come and how far we have yet to go. I promised them that we would keep working to fulfill the vision of the Greenwood District and the promise of America, that we would keep working to build a nation in which every person has the support they need to determine their own future. And that is exactly why we have all gathered here today, to do just that. Thank you all.
All right. So that was today. That was December 14th, 2021. That was at the Freedman's Bank Forum. Hopefully you will see coverage about that in mainstream media. She had a white woman with her, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, so I'm sure they're going to cover it. That's at the U.S. Department of the Treasury's official YouTube channel, U.S. Department of the Treasury. Name of that clip is Freedman's Bank Forum. That happened today. So I encourage people to read as opposed to listening to these simple Simon-ass people on social media, have absolutely no clue what they're talking about, don't understand politics, just jump on headlines. Read this piece here from Reuters, also from Yahoo News. They picked it up from Reuters. U.S. Treasury funnels $8.7 billion in COVID aid to community minority lenders. Read that one. And then here is the link to the full forum that took place today in the broadcast. We'll post this link here as well. Okay, that's clip number 3. All right. In about 1 hour and 47 minutes into it, Vice President Kamala Harris starts speaking, because there's a panel discussion before she starts, before she gave that address. There's a panel discussion before she gave that address. Okay. All right. If you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App. Also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. We're here 6 days a week. This helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting, pay some of the bills, etc. $ the AHN Show through Cash App. And also at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Just click on the yellow donate button there also. All right. You can still register for the classes I teach on Saturdays and Sundays, from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement of Black Power, 1865 to 1968. That's at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Now, if you want me to do a presentation for your group or organization, Kwanzaa is coming up, African American History Month, Dr. King Day, Women's History Month in March, Juneteenth in June. Email me at AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, if you want me to do a presentation for your group or organization. Okay, email me at AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We can make that happen. And then the online classes that I teach, if you want me to teach that class for your group, organization, or church, either in person or virtually, email me as well. We can set that up. And if we want to condense it down, instead of 10 weeks, do it for 5 weeks or 4 weeks, we can make that happen as well. All right, African-American business owners, email us at AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. Current promotion is buy 1 month, get 2 months free. Buy 1 month, get 2 months free. And we take your 30-second to 60-second commercial. We put into the audio podcast of our broadcasts of our shows. And then also when the video version of these shows re-airs, we rebroadcast them on our social media platforms. Your commercial will air there as well. So email us at AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and African-American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast as well. All right, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.
Soul in Motion, celebrating 38 years in the arts. This energetic ensemble of dancers and drummers was started by percussionist Michael Friend and is led by choreographer Associate Director Pam Lassiter. Based in the Washington, D.C. area, Soul in Motion is now accepting bookings for Black History Month, Juneteenth, and summer festivals in 2022. Soul in Motion is also available for more intimate events like naming ceremonies and weddings. To find out more or to book your date, call 240-452-1349 or send an email to info@soulinmotion.org. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Soul in Motion, celebrating our history, our culture, our future. Soul in Motion. Theater, African dance, and drumming since 1984.
Mental health and well-being have long been a taboo subject in the so-called African American community. So I enlisted the help of mental health experts, thought leaders, and activists to help kill the ghost of Willie Lynch and heal from post-traumatic slave syndrome.
We experience trauma a lot of times on a subconscious level. So sometimes something happens to us and we know that it's traumatizing, but we don't really recognize the extent of the trauma.
African Spirit Cards specialize in the design and printing of high-quality African-centered note cards and stationery. African Spirit Cards breeds and rejoices in the African and African American experiences. They honor our African heritage in all that they do for you by proudly displaying the great motifs and ornamentations of the African world diaspora. They use African images, African proverbs, and many African languages to fully immerse their clients in the wisdom and history of and the connection to Africa. They understand the importance of having images around us that reflect who we are. These images also illustrate where we came from and what we desire to be. They are here to serve you. Follow them on Instagram at African Spirit Cards, that's African with a K. They have a wide selection. Check out their holiday selection at etsy.com/shop/African Spirit Cards. That's Etsy, ETSY. You can give them a call at 313-995-3579, 313-995-3579. You can email them at janelledesigns@africanspiritcards.com. That's JANAL designs at AfricanSpiritCards.com and place your order today. Kwanzaa is coming, and the KwanzaaShop.com has all of your Kwanzaa needs. Order your Kwanzaa set today, which includes a kinara, candles, a mat, a cup, the African American flag, and a basket. Visit the KwanzaaShop.com, the KwanzaaShop.com. They have kinara sets, which include a candle holder, candles, a mat, and a cup. Kwanzaa is December 26th through January the 1st. Add the early bird discount code for 10% off your order placed before November 28th. Visit the KwanzaaShop.com and place your order today. The KwanzaaShop.com has all of your Kwanzaa needs to celebrate this African American Pan-African holiday. The KwanzaaShop.com.
Black on Purpose Television Network. Yes, Black on Purpose Television Network. All black, all positive, all the time. The largest black-owned streaming television network in the world. Bringing our people together worldwide. Controlling our messages, our story, our way. Black TV the way it should be. Black music, Black history, and more. 30 plus channels, thousands of shows. Black on Purpose Television Network. Subscribe now.
Hi, I'm Joel Wilson, President and CEO of JCW Computer Consulting LLC, a technology implementation firm with over 20 years of satisfying customers. We offer a full spectrum of industry top-tier branded services. We are an authorized partner or reseller for Lenovo, Zoom, T-Mobile, Microsoft 365 and Surface tablets, Google Workspace, Acer, Asus, Samsung, PCmatic security software, and many more. Our online store features laptops, Chromebooks, computers, printers, accessories, and software. Businesses, take advantage of our free 1-hour Zoom tech consultation and know we offer top nationwide high-speed internet service providers, voice over IP, and cellular phone services. Home users, don't miss our current in-stock Chromebook inventory. Please visit us at jcwcc.com or call 215-878